Good morning, everybody. My name is Lynette and welcome to my garden. First of all, I'd like to say thank you to those who left comments and get well wishes on my last video where I explained how I hurt my back. With a hurt back in mind, today's video I am still going to be working in the garden, but seeking out projects that require no bending, lifting, stretching, things that are going to take it easy on my back. I'm going to concentrate in this area where I was working about a week ago. My project is really going to be to tackle the hydrangeas. I would put it off if I could, but things are starting to bud up around here and it's best to do some of this drastic pruning before bud break. I should have probably done it a couple weeks ago, but it is what it is. So I hope you'll join me as I tackle some shrub pruning in my garden. I have a feeling that today's project is going to take me a little bit longer than it normally would, not just because of my back, but because of the way I have to do this project. Traditionally, I just go in and I clip all these branches off, throw them on the ground, then I rake them up, pick them up, throw them in the gator and go dump them someplace. But because I'm trying to eliminate the stress on my back, I'm going to have to clip each one individually, put it in the gator or put it into my bag here. Now, I have the bag for specific ones. There are some long, straight canes on the hydrangea, not canes, stalks, stems, whatever you want to call them. But they are really good if you have to stake up plants. They hold up really, really well. So my first thing is going to be to go in and clip off any ones that are long and straight, and they're going to go into my pop-up bag. These are Limelight hydrangeas. They've been in here probably 16, 17 years. And when I bought them, these were really the only flowering hydrangea paniculatas that were on the market. And they get too big for this space, which is why I need to trim them back. And I like them in a round shape. I'm not looking to get a tree shape out of them. I just want them to be round and allow me enough passageway to get through my little sidewalk there. So what I've been doing every year is just going in and chopping them down, and then the next year I chop them, maybe 3 inches higher, and then 3 inches higher and 3 inches higher. And now I have this big tangled up mass. It still works. As you can see, the plants bloom and flower and grow just fine, even though I've been doing this every single year to these plants since they got big. I wasn't doing it when they were really little. It was just when they started to get too big. So I'm going to go in and chop it back the way I normally would so that you guys can see how you can really drastically prune a hydrangea wrong and still get some beautiful blooms on it. When I was in here clipping these down, I wasn't worried if they were crossing branches. I wasn't clipping above a bud. I wasn't doing anything like that. I was just taking it down wherever my pruners could get in and fit. And this is the way I've pruned them for many, many years. This year, I'm going to do something even more drastic. The whole purpose for me showing you how I mutilate this shrub is not that I'm telling you to trim your hydrangea this way. It's to show that you can butcher it and it's still going to come back just fine. Ideally, what you should do is get the hydrangea that's going to fit the size and space that you need so that you don't have to go through all of this pruning. If I had to do it over again, I would buy a smaller hydrangea paniculata that would fit in this space perfectly. But as I said, when I bought this 15, 16 years ago, the only hydrangea paniculatas really on the market were Limelight. I'm going to use this battery-powered chainsaw to take out many of those congested stems and branches. In the end, I hope to open up the center, leaving an outside area of plant material that new sprouts can form on. This is a terrible trim job. I'll be coming back when my back is better and trim back some of those stems that are sticking up like stumps. I'll be sure to keep you guys posted throughout the season so we can see how they respond to this prune job. Now you may be wondering why my Limelight has all these crazy branches and they're all over the place. Well, that's because a Limelight hydrangea wants to be about 8 to 10 feet tall and wide. And we try and tame them into tree forms, or I'm trying to maintain it here into about a 6-foot shape. So it's not happy with what I'm doing to it. And it's happy here growing, but it'd be happier if I let it get to be its full size and just left it alone. But all these are new growth. This is all the new growth that came on last year after I trimmed. It's a good almost 4.5, 5 feet tall. And it's not the sturdiest, so when it gets its flowers on it and it rains, it tends to bend these over. If you get a storm come through, it can snap these branches off. So really a limelight isn't the best one that you want to train into a tree form. There are some smaller varieties that don't get 8 feet wide by 6 or 8 by 10 or something like that. Look for a smaller paniculata that you can maintain a shape a little bit easier than trying to train and maintain a limelight. If you're a flower arranger and you're looking for long straight stems with those great big panicle shaped blooms on them, then this pruning method works really well for that. This is my neighbor Jessica's Limelight Hydrangea, and it's in kind of a unique situation here. It's getting an awful lot of snow load in the winter time, and it's coming down and it's actually breaking some of the branches off this. And when we trim it, because they grow so much, you know, if you think about this fresh new growth every year, it's very brittle and it's just not going to stay on there with that snow load. So what we're going to try and do is train it so that these branches are a little bit more sturdy. So we're not going to take it all the way back into here when we're cutting back. We're going to leave maybe 4 buds out so that we can start to get these branches to harden up, and maybe we can get some V's going next year. But I'm going to bring you in and show you some problems of what the snow load has done to this shrub. As you can see, they lost a big branch here. It was coming out this way and the snow came down and broke that off. And they're starting to get a lot of congestion in here because they've been cutting back to this damage point. This year what we're going to do is we're going to leave some of these stems longer, and we've got 1, 2 buds here, we've got 1, 2, 3 buds here. So hopefully we can get some of these to grow and we can start getting some V-shaped, which will be a little bit of a stronger than those big long loosey-goose branches. Now there is a nice little thin piece here that I'm going to take off, and I'm going to get in here because I don't know if you can see. We've got some crossing going on here. See how this one is growing into the center and this one is coming up? I think I'm going to take this one off. It's a little tricky getting the pruners in there, but we're going to take that off. There we go. If I come around the other side, you can see we've got a branch coming this way and we have a branch coming this way. So that's a crossing situation there. I think I'm going to take this one off because I think we can get this one to come up this way, and there'll be some buds that are going to be breaking here that will help fill in this spot. There we go. Okay, that's going to allow a little bit better air circulation. I also see a little piece here that's growing down. We're going to take that off as well. That one was easy. One other thing I'm going to show you here. This plant's in pretty bad shape. That snow that came down and broke this branch off has split this trunk. So this is going to be a really, really weak joint here. So what I think I'm going to suggest that they do is get some screws and screw that through here and see if they can tidy that up or tighten that up, so that over time the bark is going to be able to form around it. This is my neighbor Kasha's Limelight, and she does nothing to it, and you can see how big it is. It's about 10, 12 feet across. She doesn't trim it. It does this form naturally on its own. So if you plant your Limelight in the correct space, you can have a beautiful specimen like this with little to no maintenance. This is my tree-form Limelight Hydrangea. I bought this plant about 2.5 years ago and I haven't pruned it at all. And I really don't intend to prune it until it leaves out a little bit and I can see where the dead branches are. And then I'm going to come in and take out any crossing branches and any dead. But that's as far as I'm going to take it back. I'm really pleased with all these little branches that are coming on here, because on the ends of these little branches there's going to be little hydrangea flowers. I don't care if I have those great big ones. I don't care if they're just little flowers and it's covering this whole shrub. It's going to be a much healthier plant in my opinion, because it's not going to break over like Jessica's plant does, and it's going to have all these internal branches to help hold them up and keep them strong and straight. And by not going in there and doing some radical pruning, I'm not going to get those long spindly stems that's going to make the plant want to break over. This is yet another Limelight that I have. This one is actually an offshoot from one of the ones that we pruned really heavily at the beginning of the video. One of the stems had rooted down into the ground and I dug it up and planted it here. Now, this is the north side of the garage. It doesn't get the full sun that it would really prefer to have, but it still grows rather nice. You can see it manages to get quite a few flowers on it. I don't want a really tight habit with this. I don't want it in a tree form. I kind of like this loose kind of feeling that it's giving me. So when I prune this one, I'm going to go in, first I'm going to go in and take off the flower heads. Then I'm going to prune back to a set of buds. And I'm going to do that in hopes that, again, it's going to V out this year, and what I'm hoping to create is a stronger internal structure on this, a good skeletal structure that's going to be able to support more blooms. I'm also going to go in and remove any crossing branches that I might find in there. So this is your basic run-of-the-mill hydrangea prune back. Ideally, when you're pruning, you don't want to prune here. You want to come down close to the bud and prune off there. That should cause a V to form, and then we'll have two flower heads on the end of that V. I don't think I'm going to take any more off this hydrangea. I think it'll fill in nicely and it will form lots of V's. Now, I haven't been in this hydrangea in a couple years to do any kind of maintenance on it because there's always been a robin's nest in there. And obviously the robin's not back this year, so that's why I'm taking this opportunity to do a little light pruning on it. If there's a couple things that I want you to take away from pruning hydrangeas, I want you to remember that you really can't over prune them. They will bounce back and you can just correct whatever you did wrong the next year, or you can change your mind and do something totally different the next year. A couple other things is, these are panicle hydrangeas. They bloom on new wood. So any of the shoots that they're sending out, those are the new blooms that are going to be on there. So if it helps you to think that these little green growths that are coming out right now, those are the flower buds, think about that. So you want to make sure you leave some of those so that they can bloom for you. Another thing that you might not realize is that hydrangea is toxic to dogs, and the only reason I really know that, I did look it up, was because Maple was sick a couple years ago and I couldn't figure out why. She just had the runs. And I couldn't figure out why why was this happening? It wasn't the food, nothing had changed, but she was playing with one specific stick. She would just carry it all around and chew it and chew it and chew it and chew it. And finally I took the stick away from her, I looked at it, and I recognized it as a hydrangea. So if you have a chewing dog, make sure you don't leave any of your hydrangea sticks laying around. This is a petite plum Ninebark. It's supposed to get 5 to 6 feet tall and 4 to 5 feet wide. Unfortunately, plants can't read, so this is not following the instructions. It is a goodness, 8 to 10 feet wide, and it's too big for the space that I wanted. Now, I love this shrub, and normally you don't want to prune Ninebarks. They have a natural arching habit, and they don't need any kind of pruning. The trick is to get the plant, the right size plant for the right place. Unfortunately, like I said, plants can't read. This one has gotten so big because it's very, very happy, and I guess that's a good thing. But because it's so wide, and not this past winter, the winter before, it got damaged with all the snow that we got. It ended up being piled down in the middle of the shrub, and it splayed it open. So it kind of flattened it. And I want to go in and I'm going to do a major regeneration prune on it. I'm going to take it down to the ground. It's not going to bloom this year, and my hope is that it will send shoots up and it'll start to form that natural shape again. But I wanted to explain a little bit more on the Ninebark. You can see that it has a natural weeping habit. This is an old shrub branch that wasn't damaged. This is one of the branches that was flattened. And can you see how it's sending up these straight, almost like water sprouts you'd find on a crabapple tree? I'm afraid that as these get bigger, they're going to branch out, and it's just going to keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And that's why I went in and we took it down to just about a foot off the ground. I'm hoping that this will force it to generate. It is starting to bud out, so I should have done this a little sooner, but it is what it is. But I'm hoping it's going to force it to grow and the branches will go back to their natural form. If it does start to get too big, at this point, probably in 4 or 5 years, I'll have to go in and take it down again, but at least for right now, it'll be size controlled. I don't know how it happened, but for whatever reason, we didn't get a video cutting down the Ninebark, but we just sheared it down to about 12 inches tall. John helped me with this, and then we just hauled the stuff away. Well, thanks so much for watching. Thank you again for the well wishes. Get out into your garden and have some fun. And please be sure to share, like, and subscribe. Take care, everybody. We'll see you in the next one.